Gunmen robbed GT&T of million. Guyana and Suriname to resolve fishing license issue. And Exxon ramps up production levels. I'm Enrico Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. Last night, two gunmen posing as security guards robbed the GT&T outlet at Gifflin Mall of $13.4 million in cash and just over $6 million in checks. According to the police, the men tied up the employees in the store and locked them in the office before fleeing in a white Ram. An investigation is ongoing. On Wednesday, Guyana welcomed the new European Union ambassador to Guyana, René Van Ness. Van Ness replaces Fernando Pons Canto, who was serving in that capacity since October 2019. According to the EU, Van Ness is a Dutch national who has been working with the administration since 1991. He has served at the EU delegations in Suriname, Ethiopia, and Tanzania. Before being appointed ambassador, he was the head of the Division for Conflict Prevention and Mediation Support. He has a master's degree in macroeconomics and public finance with the specialization in economics in developing nations. He is also a trained mediator and negotiator who speaks Dutch, English, German, and French. On a related note, Foreign Affairs Minister Hugh Todd and his counterpart in the Dominican Republic, Roberto Alvarez, engaged in a bilateral meeting on Wednesday to discuss areas of mutual interest to enhance cooperation between the two nations. Minister Alvarez, according to a joint statement, said that the Dominican Republic is keen on establishing a diplomatic mission in Georgetown in the immediate future. The president of the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Abdullah Sahid, is currently in Guyana for a 2-day visit. A release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that Sahid assumed the presidency in September 2021 following his election by the member states of the United Nations. This is the first time that a citizen of the Maldives is serving in this position. In additional diplomacy news, Todd is expected to meet with his Surinamese counterpart within the next 2 weeks to follow up on recent agreements signed between the two nations and also discuss the issue of fishing licenses for Guyanese fishermen. This follows the release of a strongly worded letter from the Guyanese government earlier this week condemning the treatment of Guyanese fishermen and the sloth at resolving the licensing issue on the Surinamese side. It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, canine services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest. Now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. Your home is your most valuable asset, so before you sign on the dotted line, call VJS Home Inspections. They are a licensed and insured home inspection company with professionals operating in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, and Westchester County. From electrical and plumbing issues to a leaky roof. If there's a fault in the house, VJS will find it using the latest industry technology, including infrared scanners, HD drones, and more. So, if you're buying or selling a home in New York, make the smart choice. Call VJS Home Inspections at 914-513-9356 and tell them Enrico sent you. The High Court is set to hear the trial of Wayne Gilbert for the 2017 killing of Raul Rodriguez starting Monday, September 12th. A jury was empaneled yesterday morning to hear the prosecution's case against Gilbert, which alleges that he, in the company of others, murdered Rodriguez on January 20, 2017, during the course of a robbery. The incident occurred at the bus park on Kroll Street in Georgetown. Vicky Balgobin has been charged and remanded to prison for the fatal hit-and-run accident along the Blankenberg Public Road, West Coast Demerara, that killed 42-year-old Azad Khan last weekend. Balgobin was charged with failing to render assistance to an injured person, failing to stop after an accident, and causing death by dangerous driving. Balgobin pleaded not guilty to the causing death charge and was remanded to prison, but pleaded guilty to the other charges and was fined $40,000 or 12 weeks imprisonment each charge. He will be back in court on October 26th 2022. Yesterday, the United States Embassy in Georgetown announced that USAID will be handing over an additional US $22.8 million in funding this year to support Caribbean regional development goals related to climate resilience, youth security, information and communication technology, private sector engagement, and health. This funding, the release informed, also includes US $10 million to combat food insecurity in the Caribbean to support priority areas identified by CARICOM under President Biden's Caribbean Zero Hunger Plan. Well, this is great to hear, because the United Nations is now blaming the Rona for a setback in progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals 4 and educational achievements seen between 2015 and 2021. The SDG 4 Education 2030 Regional Monitoring Report explained that the pandemic and its after effects are to blame for what will very well result in the Caribbean region as a whole from falling short of the developmental goals set by the United Nations for the region years ago. Unfortunately, this is expected to be the case all over the world and not just in the Caribbean. Now for today's oil update. Guyana's Ministry of Finance, in its 2022 mid-year report, said oil production is expected to surpass 1 million barrels per day by 2029. However, Exxon is convinced that we will reach that benchmark far sooner. Exxon has plans to achieve a production capacity of 1.2 million barrels per day in the Starbuck block alone by 2027. It plans to get there using 6 floating production vessels. Closer to the end of the decade, the Starbuck block partners may even have 10 floaters operating simultaneously within the license area. The report also states that Guyana's recoverable resource now stands at approximately 11 billion oil equivalent barrels. This places Guyana at number 17 for the largest reserves in the world. Are you a truck owner? Pay close attention. Avoid lengthy downtime when your truck broke down. Get high-quality DAF, International, Freightliner, Bedford TM, or Scammell truck parts at the lowest prices at Powered Automotive. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Eccles, or call them on telephone number 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's Car of the Week. Currently on sale is this 2016 Suzuki Jimmy Sierra 4-wheel drive. It comes with regular and low-range 4-wheel drive, Bluetooth, mount rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamps, spot camera, and much, much more. Buy cash for $3.4 million, or pay as low as $700,000 down, with around $67,000 monthly for 5 years, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info, or visit their showrooms at Lot 171 Peterborough Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street, and tell them Rico sent you for this sweet deal. Now for our viewers poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Guyana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel if this was. Yesterday I asked how you felt about the Queen dying, and does it mean anything to you as a Guyanese? As expected, answers from you all came from all across the spectrum. Starting off with a Missouri, who says rest in peace Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. However, Malcolm Jervis has a bit of a more nuanced take, saying, we send our condolences to the family, but they need to address the questions on the Crown lands since we are a republic. Our people and our constitution must be the yardstick. No foreign power should own strategic security projects of Guyana. King Charles III of England must be made to give up his rights to the lands and projects he owns in Guyana and take those which is rightfully handed down to him in England. The president must make it clear that Guyana belongs to the Guyanese people, says Malcolm Jervis of London. I agree with you 100%. I wasn't even aware that he still owned lands, but I guess if the Queen's owned the land, now it's his land. So, give it up, not a blade of grass. Dimitri V says the Queen's passing, however sad, really doesn't have any bearings outside of who's the next figurehead of England. The monarchy really doesn't have power in England, but it's just like a celebrity status. It's sad because she's been around for so long and no one thought she'd pass. It's like the end of an era. However, Rob Peters had a more negative view, saying, the Queen, who? Never had any use for her or her entire family. And finally, Lash says, R.I.P. to the Queen. Her death made me ask about Dr. Roger Luncheon. Anyone heard anything from him recently? Yes, he is alive and well, and I'm pretty sure he will outlive us all at this rate. So, before we get to tonight's question, you can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Topper. This is a legit way you can earn some extra money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for tonight's question. Since I asked about the Queen yesterday, I want to know, do you think England should abolish the monarchy altogether or should they keep it around? Why or why not? Now I do realize that this is actually more relevant to the diaspora. Nevertheless, I want to hear from everyone. So, think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out on Monday for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bulford saying, have a great weekend. And as always, don't drink and drive, or you'll end up on Monday's episode the hard way. Ha-ha! Good night, folks.